Have you ever been on a hot summer day playing with a super soaker? If Lonnie J. Johnson didn't invent it, super soakers might not have been a thing. Lonnie J. Johnson is an inventor and an engineer who patented more than 80 inventions, and his super soaker is ranked on the world's top 20 best-selling toys. He thought a lot when he was younger, like he tore his sister's dolls apart to see how the eyes closed.
I'm going to talk to you about Mary Anderson. One day, Mary Anderson was driving in New York to see all the amazing sights, but she couldn't see anything because of the snow. And then she noticed that the driver had to stop the car lot to clean the windows with their hands. So when Anderson got home that day, she thought more and more about how drivers had to keep cleaning their car windows. So then she thought of a moving audio device and called it windshield.
He is working on a green technology invention that will help solar energy be more efficient, so we won't waste things on things that destroy the environment.
Windshield wipers are important because without them, when it snows a lot, then you always have to keep getting out of your car a bunch of times to clean it.
You should vote for Lonnie J. Johnson because he is a great toy maker, and I really like this industry.
You should vote for Mary Anderson because she invented windshield wipers. Now you don't have to keep cleaning.
Hi, I'm here to talk about Garrett Morgan. When he was little, he liked to daydream, but he did lots of cool things, like he made the first chemical hair straightener. He had sewing machines, business, and his own newspaper.
Do you guys celebrate Black History Month?
Yes.
Well, that wouldn't have been a case if Carter G. Woodson didn't make it. Carter G. Woodson was taught to read by family members and worked as a coal miner in West Virginia. He put himself through high school and graduated through Valarie College, Kentucky in 1903. He hired to teach English in the Philippines. Woodson studied Romance languages through correspondence courses.
Garrett Morgan was not the first person to invent traffic signals, but he was the first to invent a traffic signal that gave 3 directions: stop, go, and slow down.
Carter G. Woodson earned a PhD in history from Harvard, and he was the second American to earn a Harvard doctorate. Woodson was an active promoter of black education. He founded the Association for Study of Negro Life and History, the Journal of Negro History and Association Publishers, and Negro History Bulletin. In 1926, he began promoting Negro History Week during the second week of February and celebrating the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Mark Frederick Douglass.
Okay.
You should vote for Garrett Morgan because if it wasn't for him, we would be in lots of accidents because we need to slow down.
Without Carter G. Woodson, Black History Month wouldn't be a thing. We won't be able to even do this class.
Hello, my name is Asset, and today I'm going to talk to you about marketing. Marketing, who here has printed something from their computer? Of course, all hands are raised. Well, if it weren't for marketing, you wouldn't be given the latitude to do so. Marketing was born on March 2nd, 1957. He is an inventor and a computer engineer.
Hello, I'm Zoe. In movies, don't you always see really crazy monsters? Well, you don't think they're real. They have to be illusions. And that's what I'm talking to you about. The person who invented the illusion transmitter was Valarie Thomas. She was born in the United States of America. Valarie Thomas died in 1973. That means she died when she was 30 years old.
As a little boy, he loved to build things. For example, he constructed his very own tractor from scratch with the help of his father. In college, in high school actually, he graduated with straight A's at the Jefferson City High School. During college, he graduated at the top of his class and got a bachelor's degree at Tennessee. He got his master's degree at the University of,
Okay.
University of Florida Atlantic.
When Valarie Thomas was in grade 2, she got no training in science. But how do you think she did make the Lawson transmitter? Well, she went to Morgan State University, and she's one of the 2 girls in her graduating class to major in physics. Once Valarie Thomas graduated, she went to NASA and became a data analyst. And she also retired in August.
So, you should vote for Mark Dean because if it weren't for him, we wouldn't be able to watch anything from our computer, from our television instead of our computer. I haven't talked about that part yet.
It's okay. Go for it, Zoe.
Why you should vote for me and Valarie Thomas is because in movies, when the crazy monsters, that might have not happened now. They might have just been humans in costumes. And does that look realistic? I don't think so.
West was born in Farmville, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
He enjoyed learning how to work when he was young. West became especially interested in electricity after he accidentally got shocked when tinkering an old radio.
Who here has an Xbox, PlayStation, Wii? Jerry Lawson made it possible for us to play our games on the Xbox, PlayStation, and Wii.
What?
Jerry Lawson was born on December 1st, 1940. He enrolled into Queens College, which is a part of the University of New York City.
If it wasn't for Jamie West, then you would be able to sing or rap or anything.
Without him, we would not have our CDs to play our games on the PlayStation, Wii, and Xbox.
Okay. You got more?
Yeah.
Go.
So back then, you had to buy a whole game system in order to play one game. And if you wanted another game, you had to buy another whole game system just to play that game.
You should vote for Jimmy West because you can go probably anywhere to go.
Okay.
Because without him, we wouldn't have our games to play. Xbox, PlayStation, like Call of Duty, Forza. Yes.
Side voice.
Invented the snowmotes. Snowmotes are robots that can climb icy mountains and collect information about the climate. Because he built a farm, and even through droughts, he made it still grow. Diane Howard earned her PhD in electrical engineering from the University of Southern California. Some people do not want to read a regular clock, and if it wasn't for a regular clock, there wouldn't be an electrical clock.
What if you did not have water guns for the summer? What would you do if you didn't live by a pool? I'm going to talk about Lonnie Johnson because summer would be a lot less fun without his invention.
Does anyone know who Joanna Hardin is?
I don't know who she is.
Okay, today I'm going to be talking about Joanna Hardin. On February 23rd, 1993, Joanna Hardin invented the CompuWest keyboard stand.
Okay.
She had a job where she used a computer every day and she got arthritis. She and her friend Peterson filed for a patent on July 19, 1997.
Lonnie Johnson was the only black inventor to invent the Super Soaker using his knowledge as a NASA rocket scientist.
The CompuWest keyboard stand was designed to alleviate stress. She got arthritis due to stress on her joints.
Mr. Johnson continued to invent, and eventually he held more than 80 patents. For his contributions, science and his success with the Super Soaker, he was inducted to the Inventor Hall of Fame in 2000.
That's awesome. You want to tell these kids in this room why they should vote for the guy who made the Super Soaker, though?
Yeah.
Go for it.
You should vote for Lonnie Johnson because his invention is really fun to use. And without the Super Soaker,
Like, if you didn't live by a pool, what would you do?
If we didn't have the CompuRes keyboard stand, then we wouldn't have anything. If we didn't have that, then we would have a lot of stress on our joints and it would hurt really bad. And it's a good thing that we have the CompuRes keyboard stand so we don't have to go through stress.
How many of you talk on the phone? All of you, right? You're calling your mom, hey mom, can you pick up this at the grocery store? Exactly, so you do it all the time. Now that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for James Edward Maceo West. He invented the microphone. He was born on February 10th in 1931 in Farmsville, Prince Edwards County, Virginia. He has over 250 patents worldwide.
All right, cool. And go.
Hello, my name is Grace Robinson, and today I would like to talk about George Washington Carver. Now, did you know George Washington Carver was born into slavery?
I did.
He worked as a slave, but yet he was able to overcome all those challenges and be one of the most well-known inventors in history. Does anyone know what he invented?
Peanut butter.
I got one.
No. He invented the peanut. He was known as the young plant doctor. Appearing before Congress made him the Peanut Man.
And go.
So, James Maceo West, he did a lot. You know, all those YouTube videos that you watch are old. Think of their sound quality. You can hardly hear what they're saying. If it wasn't for him, that would be what all of ours would be. But even worse, there wouldn't be any sound. You would just be watching people walk around with subtitles. So the microphone really changed how Americans live their lives because pretty much everyone nowadays has a phone with a microphone in it or an iPod or whatever. And they really are crucial to the way we live.
Now, George Washington Carver believed and studied that peanuts could cure polio. Now, there have actually been cases where it has cured polio. Not only did he invent the peanut, he saved people. He was a man born into slavery who was free, and instead of having a closed-minded thought process, he helped everyone. He healed people, he fed the hungry, and he cured the sick.
Without the microphone, this society would not hold up. We would not be able to communicate, and we really need the microphone. Please recognize James Edward Maceo West by voting for me.
Well, people also call George Washington Carver not just the Peanut Man, they called him the well-connected man. Because wherever he went, he connected with everyone. And you know, I like to think of George Washington Carver before I make a decision. Would George Washington Carver approve of this decision? Well, am I doing something to help others? He probably would approve. Am I helping the sick? He probably would approve. But if I was hurting another person, I highly do not think he would approve of that.
I think that Lonnie Johnson is one of the best inventors because he invented the Super Soaker. How many of you have not used a Super Soaker?
Not use one?
One number.
That's right. Not many of you haven't used one. Super Soakers are really fun to use. He is an African-American engineer and inventor. He was born in Alabama in 1949. He earned his master's degree in nuclear engineering from Tuskegee University. He later on went to work for the U.S. Air Force and the NASA space program.
And stop. And go.
Okay, so my inventor is Valarie Thomas. Now, who in here watches TV?
I watch TV.
Now, could you imagine going one day without watching one of your favorite shows? Well, Valarie Thomas was... Hey. Okay, anyway, Valarie Thomas attended Morgan State University, where she was one of 2 women majoring in physics. In 1977, she invented the illusion transmitter, which is your most basic TV screen.
Okay, the Super Soaker became a top-selling item by the 1990s. The Super Soaker became even more popular once Michael Jackson said it was one of his favorite toys. After inventing the Super Soaker, Lonnie Johnson later on went to inventing the thermoelectric energy converter.
In 1980, Valarie Thomas obtained a patent for the illusion transmitter, a device that NASA still uses today. And also, without this illusion transmitter, there would not have been one of the first trips to space, as well as screens all in the, I can't think of the word, but where they were monitoring the first space trip. And she was born in 1943 right here in Maryland.
I love the Super Soaker and I've used it plenty of times. I'm pretty sure I have used it almost every summer. They're super fun and I love squirting my friends with the Super Soaker.
Okay, and?
Okay. Without televisions, not only would we not have a very widely used form of entertainment, but a lot of science and math and jobs, everyday things that you do would not have been able to happen without Valarie Thomas's illusion transmitter.
How many of you guys enjoy Nutella? Anyone here?
I love
Peanut
it.
butter, any of those wonderful peanut products? Well, let me tell you about a world-renowned man, Mr. George Washington Carver. This scientist was a chemist and blazed the way, the pathway for education for African Americans. He was the first African American to graduate college, to be accepted into Iowa State, and the first faculty member of a university. He opened the doors for Black America.
How many of you know who invented the clock?
I don't know. Who?
Benjamin Banneker built the clock. He taught himself math, history, and he was born in 1731 on November 9th and October 9th, 1806.
So another amazing fact about Mr. Carver was that he was invested into the British Men's Science Association. So not only being well known in America, but internationally acclaimed for his work. He also saved the agricultural industry in the 1860s by saving us from the corn weevil, which actually destroyed most of the cotton crops in the South. And he brought in over 300 different uses for peanuts and saved the industry.
All right, and ready?
Okay. Benjamin Banneker helped Pierre L'Enfant build the Washington, D.C. And when Pierre disappeared with all the notes, Benjamin recovered them and wrote them back by memory, right to the exact, I forget the word.
Punctuation?
Yes.
Well, if you enjoy Nutella or eating peanuts on a plane, you need to thank George Washington Carver. Not only being a great scientist and the first chemist, but also blazing the way for education. He also donated his wealth of $33,000 to an endowment fund to give young Americans the chance to go to college. He is truly a great American, a great scientist, and a great leader.
Yes.
Now, if it wasn't for Benjamin Banneker, we would not be here right now. You might think that it was midnight and it would be dinner time. And also, if he wasn't here, we might not have been able to have Washington, D.C. in this exact same place as it should have been. Thank you.
Born into slavery, Madam C.J. Walker, née Sarah Breedlove, was the first child in her family not to be born a slave. Working in the field, Sarah experienced harsh scalp ailments because of the harsh chemicals like lye in the hair products. Around the early 1900s, she became a commission agent selling products for a woman named Annie Turnbow Malone, who taught her loads about hair care and products.
Okay, cool. And 30.
Madame C.J. Walker was born December 23rd, 1867 into slavery. Her parents were Minerva Breedlove and Owen Breedlove. She was an entrepreneur, and she was the first woman to become an African-American self-made millionaire. She was an entrepreneur. She made hair products, and she made a manufacturing company that produced and distributed a line of hair and beauty preparations.
Her employer would later become her greatest rival in the market. Sarah Breedlove then married Charles Joseph Walker, whom she took his name, and after the marriage, he emerged as Madame C.J. Walker, an autonomous hairdresser of hair commodities and motions. She went on to leave a legacy as a strong African-American businesswoman and have the Madame C.J. Walker Heritage Award for Young Entrepreneurs left in her name.
Many people use hair products. And if it wasn't for Madame C.J. Walker, you wouldn't have these. She was a black inventor, and she also set a new road for women who are inventing things. She was also the very first black millionaire.
This is the last attempt to make them care. Make them vote for your version of Madam C.J. Walker. And go.
Madame C.J. Walker left a legacy on black inventors everywhere. And without her, you wouldn't even be able to use the best shampoo products and conditioners that you would normally have today.
All right, good argument. What do you got?
Madam C.J. Walker was the one who invented hair products. If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't have hair products today.
Who can imagine a world without lights?
Go for it. Go for it. I can't imagine the world.
This would be the world without Louis Howard Latimer. He created the filament, which is in the light, so the light can shine. He was born on September 4th, 1848, and I'm going to save that for last. He lived in Chelsea, Massachusetts.
Henry Blair was the second African-American inventor to receive a patent. He was born in Glen Rose, Maryland, United States in 1805. His first invention was a seed planter. Patented October 14, 1835, which allowed farmers to plant more corn using less labor and smaller amounts of time.
Okay. Round two. Your inventor.
Can you imagine walking around in a building while the lights are all off and all you see is torches that are lighting up the room?
No, I can't imagine that. No.
Well, also, Louis Howard Latimer created the first, he co-invented the toilet system for railroad cars. I know, it's out of the subject, but he made it.
Okay, thank you. Next.
This invention worked by splitting the ground with two shovels like blades which were pulled along by a horse. A wheel-driven cylinder followed behind, which dropped the seed into a nearly plowed ground. Blair had been a successful farmer for years and developed the invention of means of increasing efficiency in farming.
You guys know who Thomas Edison is?
Yeah.
You guys might think he made the first light bulb, but he actually didn't. Without Louis Howard Latimer, he would have never been able to actually make it light up, because without the filament in the light would have never turned bright.
Can you guys imagine not living without any food? So this is why Henry Blair invented the plow, so farmers could grow food in easier and less labor.
This question's been asked, but how many of you people have cell phones? How many of you use them on a daily basis? I do. So communication is key in today's society, and without this certain man, James Edward Maceo West, we would not have the microphone in our cell phones, and many more things as well, such as video cameras, baby monitors, hearing aids, microphones, and computers. 90% of all electronics today use James's microphone.
Cool. Next.
Lonnie Johnson was born on October 6, 1949 in Alabama. He was an engineer for NASA for the Galileo project, which is an unmanned spacecraft in the late 1970s. He also earned his master's degree in nuclear engineering.
So, James Edward Maceo West is an acoustician, which is a branch of physics concerning sound. As a child, he was always very interested in how things worked, and he liked taking things apart, and soon gained a fascination in sound and how things.
Okay. And
Johnson is best known for his invention of the Super Soaker water gun. The Super Soaker has ranked among the world's top 20 best-selling toys every year since its release in 1982.
Without James Edward Macy West, we would not be able to call people on the phone and have it sound as good as it does today. We would not be able to have the quality of hearing aids that people who need it have, and televisions would not sound as good, microphones would not sound as good, video cameras, all things that people use on a daily basis would not be as advanced as they are today.
Okay, and
In honor of his achievements in 2011, Lonnie Johnson was enrolled into the State of Alabama Engineering Hall of Fame.
Have you ever been at home alone, or at least worried about your house when you're away?
I have. Yes.
Well, that's what home security systems are for.
Okay.
Back in 1996, home security systems were not as advanced as they were today. They also didn't really exist. Marie Van Brittan Brown invented the first home security system because she didn't feel safe in her neighborhood.
How many of you have used a computer?
I have.
Do you use it on a regular basis?
I do.
Mark, sorry, I picked up the wrong person. Sorry. Mark Dean invented the first computer. Without him, well, not the first computer, but invented the first personal computer. Before him, computers could take up entire rooms full of space.
Oh my God. Okay, well, you had 5 more seconds.
Could you imagine trying to use a computer that takes up this entire room?
I could not. Okay, next go.
Brown's system had a set of 4 peepholes and a camera that could slide up and down to look out each one. Anything the camera picked up would appear on a monitor. An additional feature of Brown's invention was that a person could unlock a door with a remote control. A female black inventor that was far ahead of her time. She created an invention that was the first in a long string of home security system inventions that continue to flood the market today.
He also created the color. Before when computers were big, they didn't have the color, you only had black and white. So he was able to create, also able to create devices that allowed keyboards, mice, and printers to be plugged into computers so that they would work, so that you could get them to work together. Could you imagine using a computer without a mouse or a keyboard, or not being able to print things?
Imagine not having the safety of a home security system when you're away. If Marie Van Brittan Brown hadn't invented it, you would never know who was in your house, I guess. She was born October 30th, 1992, and died February 2nd, 1999, at the age of 76. We should all thank her for our safety at home. Thank you.
Good conclusion. Okay, yours?
Could you even make something such as a home security system without having a computer that it was based off of?
Oh, okay, burn. Okay, go for it. Is that your end? That's it? Okay. All right.
How many of you guys play video games?
I do.
How many of you guys own a video game console?
I do.
Does anybody remember back in the day when you'd see an arcade and you'd have to have your own money and actually use it just to play that video game?
I do.
Do you remember?
I remember those days.
Those are painful moments. We'd actually have to pay from our own wallet to play a video game. Is that absurd?
Yes, absurd. Yeah.
Raise your hand if you've ridden an elevator before.
Not today, though.
Who has fallen out of an elevator before?
Whoa, what?
Falling out of an elevator?
Well, I'm glad you did not fall into the elevator shaft because of Alexander Miles. He was the creator of the automatic door that shuts on its own. So you would have to push a 200-pound door just so that you don't fall out the elevator.
Good attention grabber, by the way. Okay. Next.
Okay. A lot of people relate video games to stress and how they can take away the stress in their lives during a bad day. And if it wasn't for Gerald A. Lawson, you wouldn't be playing at your own house. You'd actually have to be playing with your own money, or maybe your parents' money.
I do not have the information, but I'm pretty sure that plenty of people have fallen in an elevator shaft and died. But he came up with the invention of them closing That's it.
Well, if you had your video game consoles at your house, you wouldn't need to go outside and take the elevator to the arcade and fall out and die. So just stay at home, relax, eat some chips, play your game.
Whenever you're ready.
Well, it does not cost to ride an elevator, thankfully. So that's all I have to say.
Money, cars, houses, clothes, and phones are inventions by people, and those inventions we use today to connect with people with phones. We use money to buy things we need and want. We need clothes to dress ourselves and cars for transportation. Isn't it amazing how all these inventors create these items for us to use? Madam C.J. Walker was an inventor too. According to Biograph.com, Madam C.J. Walker invented a line of African American hair products. George Crumb was American native. He was born in New York in 1822. His birth name was George Speck, and his passion was cooking. He worked at Moon's Lake House Restaurant in 1860. He opened up his own restaurant called Crumb's House in Mountaineer, Saratoga Springs, New York. The story about Crumb and his potato chips became known after the 1930s. She was suffering from a scalp ailment that resulted in her own hair loss. MLearningEnglish.vonews.com stated that at the age of 37, Madam C.J. Walker, however, did more than a successful business. Her products helped women have a better sense of their own beauty. In History.com, Madam C.J. Walker, her real name, Sarah Breedlove, sold her homemade products directly to black women.
Okay. Next.
Crumb was working as the chef in the summer of 1853 when he incidentally invented the chip. It all began when a patron who ordered a plate of French fried potatoes sent them back to Crumb's kitchen because he felt they were too thick and soft. To teach the patron a lesson, Crumb sliced a new batch of potatoes as thin as he possibly could and then fried them until they were hard and crunchy. When Madam C.J. Walker was suffering from a scalp ailment, she didn't wait for it to go away. Instead, she made her own hair product line. She says, I had to make my own living and my own opportunity, but I made it. Don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come to you. Get up and make them. Finally, to top them off, he added a generous heaping of salt. To Crumb's surprise, the dish ended up being a hit with the patron, and a new snack was born, the Saratoga potato chips.
Okay, clap for the guys.